Hello, hello. How are we all doing? How are we all doing? I apologize for being a moment late. I was running a little behind already, getting everything up, as you can kind of see with the emails and the scheduling of this. And then when I tried to get into the actual studio of Restream, it decided, yeah, we're actually gonna have some sort of weird thing where it said took a screenshot of it's like can't connect due to firewall issue or something like that. So it was only a matter of time before I had some semblance of a live streaming issue. So, but we are here. Hopefully, it doesn't break. I have no idea if it's going to break or not. So that'll be interesting for all of us. But I appreciate you guys being here. So now I have to get all my tabs back open because I was going to restart my computer and then I got it to work. So let me just kind of get some of these open. But how are you guys doing? Let me know if you can hear me, see me, all that good jazz. Where you're tuning in from. How was your week? Did you make any money? Did you make any sales? I had a lot of interesting things. I put out a lot of interesting questions, I feel like, on X and here on YouTube. And I really want to do a better job of I feel like I'm always trying to be kind of inquisitive and ask questions and do things, but I kind of want to be more in tune with you guys, with what you want, with what you want to see, with where you're at in your journeys and everything like that. So if there's any way that I can do that for you, I'm more than happy to do so. And yeah, I got a lot of different things that I'd like to cover today. As you can see by the thumbnail that I created in 5 minutes earlier, that was one of the polls that I put out on X. I'm really interested in getting your guys' feedback on that. Let me continue to pull just a couple of these things up, and then we're just gonna dive right into it. I really do want to try to build some stuff, but I also again want to make sure that when I'm doing that, it's actually valuable. I have a laundry list of things, so what I would ask of you guys is if you have anything, throw it in the chat, and I'll continue to add to the list, and then we'll do future live streams on it. This week again has just been with me recovering with my face. Um, I've been behind on a couple of videos that I need to put together, so I am working on getting more value out there for y'all. Okay, I think I'm pretty good here. We can navigate the rest of this as we go. All right, so here's what I want to do. I just kind of want to fly right through it, kind of talk about a bunch of different things, and I would love to hear you guys' feedback on all the different stuff that you saw this week, and also some of these polls that I think could be kind of really interesting. So let me go over to my screen right here. So the couple announcements. One announcement is tonight, in 8 hours, I will be live with Jeffrey from Lightbox. You guys know Mr. Jeffrey. He's a great guy. I've been following him for a while, and he has a recurring podcast with Mark from Wiki Design, Imran from Web Squadron, and then Paul WP Toots. Great stuff. Appreciate what they've done for the community over these years that they've all been doing it, and much more seasoned than I, all four of them. But me and Jeffrey are going to be chatting tonight about starting a WordPress YouTube channel. Now, I have a lot of thoughts about this. I do want to save it, so if you guys click on that link and go to the old YouTube page right here before it's live. You can click this notify me button. It's going to be over on his channel, so definitely go take a look at that. But that should be a lot of fun. Really excited for it, and it's going to give me some insight too, kind of on hopefully his audience can kind of get more behind the scenes, and if you guys go over there and watch that, you guys can. But I think we're going to be talking heavily about everything that everything that kind of includes starting a YouTube channel, so to speak. But I think more so a lot of it is just what that actually looks like what the nuts and bolts are. Again, just kind of the peek behind the curtain there. And I think the other cool thing that I've seen is a lot of people have really tried to get into YouTube from WordPress and just the surrounding kind of web design stuff. And I always welcome it. I try to share it as much as possible and all that. And I think there's just some really interesting things that that are going to come out of that discussion. So I'm super excited for that. But yeah, Brady says, Jeffrey a gangster, and sorry, I appreciate that, Brady. Thank you so much. Jeffrey is an OG, along with the other guys I mentioned. I'm a new guy, but I'm doing my best, so I appreciate you guys. Uh, what if I have like 25 subscribers on YouTube? Should I even bother? Marcus, man, you provide a ton of value. If you guys don't know about WP World, definitely head over there and check that out. I believe I have that up in my, this one right here. There we go. This is my presser profile. If I'll drop this in here. So I know Marcus takes care of WP World. Like, this is dope, bro. I mean, this is sick. So I would just talk about this more and more. Like, everybody is down for this. I honestly, I don't know. Like, I mentioned this to a couple people when I found it, Marcus, and I think there's a lot of people that would absolutely love more of this and just more content, just knowing about this. So definitely go over to the WP.world there. And check that out if you guys are in the chat here, because Marcus does a great job over here. This is just dope. I mean, again, you can see all the speakers and everything like that. Like if you're a speaker, all the events and everything. I keep my stuff up to date because I like to have a nice profile in here with these types of things. And as an aside, obviously this is fantastic, but this type of website I just love. I love the idea of like a ton of data, like whether that's API data, or I'm trying to get better with that. I gotta talk to my boy Brendan O'Connell about getting better on that. And we have some updates on that stuff as well too. But like that type of thing where there's like just a shit ton of data, actual users, like that really, those are the types of websites that really just get my mind going. And when I was focusing more heavily on agency stuff, that is the kind of thing I like to do. But the problem is, to me, is that normally, like this website, as Marcus can attest, has been, I'm sure, years in the making and like so much time and energy. And that's like, it's like a project, right? It's like a personal project and like, like really a business in and of itself, right? It's very difficult, in my opinion, to do that for clients because the amount of money, time, and energy to equate to money, a lot of times, like clients just don't understand that. And I had an interesting experience yesterday with a client call that I can share with you guys, but that's just my idea. But the technical side and actually building something like this, I'd like to do more of it for myself. Just because I've already done it in several facets for clients and for stuff that I do. But I just love websites like that. My favorite, truthfully. Dan, what's up? Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Mark Tyson, yeah. We got some scars on us. Hopefully they heal up. Joe, what's up? What's up? Max, thank you for being here. Marcus, yes, absolutely, man. This is dope, bro. Looks like you still need to upload a cover photo. Oh, I need a cover photo. You're right. I need to think of a good one. Maybe I'll use some AI to generate that. Manos, what's up? What's up? What's up? Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being here. So yeah, wrap this up here. We're gonna be live tonight, 8 p.m. Fun fact: Jeffrey is actually over in like Thailand, so it's like a 12-hour difference. That's why it's 8 p.m. here in Eastern, 8 a.m. over there. I'm pretty sure that's the time difference, but it's a vast time difference. So yeah, excited for that chat. If you guys can be there, links in the chat. Definitely would love to see you there. That would be absolutely dope. There's a lot of things. There's a few things in my subscriptions. I'm subscribed to so many people. You guys, I'll just like do a quick like rundown like this. If you see any names you're not familiar with, I would highly recommend that you go check them out. Because I specifically, this is funny because I was just talking to somebody about this. I specifically purged my subscriptions about a year and a half ago and went like straight WordPress. Now it's gotten a little bit more back to like business and like content creation, like a little bit here and there. But like, I don't even know what I was just, like basically my adolescent subscriptions or whatever that I had before. And now it's just everything you see here. I've just like I dove fully into it. And honestly, I don't regret any of it because I've met so many great people. And a lot of these people I've talked to personally and everything like that. So it's dope. But if you see anybody in here that you're not familiar with, I would highly recommend that you go check them out. There was just a couple things here and there that I just wanted to talk about real quick because this is kind of how my life goes. I go through this week and I try to catch everything that I can, because obviously there's a ton of content here. Obviously we did bridge builders. I'll throw a link to that in the description if you guys want to go check that out. It always gives me these little time codes at the end, which is kind of cool. Another random tech thing that I've seen is when you have the little red bar at the bottom, if you guys use YouTube like that, if you have the little red bar at the bottom that says like you watched some of it, then the link has like a parameter, basically, I guess, like a little time parameter. But if you go to the video, it's like there's something else too. Like if you go to the video and you refresh it, then it'll still stay at the time. So it's not just parameter driven. It's like a medley of both. I guess like when you're linking from a page, it's like a parameter, but if you're already on the thing, it still remembers where you're at. I don't know. It's just really cool. And I think in the WordPress realm, I think Presto Player has something equivalent. There's probably other ones as well, but just something random for all the video folks. This was an interesting conversation. There's a little bit of back and forth here. So let me find the origin of it. Jamie Marsland. If you guys didn't see this, I just do want to highlight these here because I watched these videos and they were kind of interesting. So Jamie said, yeah, it's putting a little time thing in there. Jamie said, like quick video about like, does WordPress need a radical rethink? And again, Jamie is an automatic employee now, so that's like, it's interesting to see like what he's doing with AI and all that sort of stuff. And then Brian Cords, somewhere in here, might have missed it, responded to him, and then Jonathan responded to him, wanted to do it in order. Right here, boom. This is super inception-y. We should have just kept this going. Just everybody replied to reply to reply to reply. That would have been crazy. But these videos were interesting and definitely thought-provoking. You know, just really enjoying people actually talking about this stuff. I'm not sure like if it matters or you know where it ends up, and I don't know. I don't have answers. I just have a bunch of questions that I try to go with, and I think it probably makes sense to head over here real quick, just to some of these, and we can bounce around because the title of this video was like the thumbnail of this video was this one right here. Like, is WordPress.com growth good or bad for the WordPress open source project? And I just think that's a really interesting question. That's why I asked it. and I think that in and of itself is like leads to a bigger conversation. Matt Medeiros and I filmed something. I'm not sure when it's coming out, but it was kind of like this question plus this question right here. Has the term open source been overused and therefore now largely misinterpreted? I just think these are questions that we have to ask in this climate of where we're at with all this, because I think some people actually might have misinterpreted this question to a degree, but let me explain this one real quick, and then I'll leave the longer form discussion for mine and Matt's discussion that we had. But what I meant with this was that I see people using the term open source, and I feel like it's just been not intentionally, but it's been obfuscated or co-opted. Again, not like it's malicious, but it's just been like everybody says open source and they feel like it means like you get like your full say and all this sort of stuff. And I just think that at the core of it, open source means like generally kind of like you can see the code. Like that's pretty much how it is. And if like we looked up the definition of open source, I feel like it's going to be quite simple. And then you layer on all the other things. Like it doesn't really mean anything about community or how you contribute necessarily. Like you could contribute, you could fork it or whatever because you can see the code. It's not closed in that manner. But my point is, I feel like we say this word a lot now, and we think that it means things because we're in the WordPress realm, and it's like, oh, you can contribute, you can do all this, and then kind of the goalposts get moved a little bit, you know, when it's you know over the last few months or whatever, when it's like, oh yeah, you can contribute, but it's actually like the actual brand of WordPress really does belong to kind of like Matt Mullen, which again I'm totally fine with because I feel like people should have their own things that they own. But my point is I feel like over the course of time, and I haven't been here too long, but I feel like over the course of time, I feel like it's been kind of like, I don't know, just the reality of the situation and what people thought, I feel like we're just kind of different. And then when I say open source, I don't mean specifically WordPress, but I also don't have a ton of experience in other things, but it just doesn't seem like there's these types of kind of issues. So just a thought-provoking question. Got some responses that said that the answer to this question is no, which is, I guess, valid. I just think that the answer has to be yes in a way, because I don't think everyone knows exactly what that means. And I think that their definition of that is different. And that's a problem we have, you know, way bigger, way more macro than just this, is like, we got to agree what words mean. You know what I mean? And then like try to be as tight with language and as succinct with language as possible, which I'm by no means perfect at. But that's kind of where all that stemmed from, because I saw it in a couple comments and different things on YouTube videos and such like that. And it's like everybody just says open source, open source, open source. It's like, yes, but it's probably better in a lot of cases than closed source for sure. But at the same time, there are other things that like you can't just, you know, just because something is open source doesn't mean it's X, Y, and Z as far as like how you contribute, license, like all this other stuff. Like there's all these other layers of things, and it's just kind of interesting. So that's kind of where that came from there. And then yeah, I mean we could talk about this one for literal days, but is the WordPress.com, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts in the chat as well. I'll hop over there in a second, but like, is WordPress.com growth good or bad for the WordPress Opens project? I mean, honestly, I've thought about this an extensive amount, and I still don't have an answer. But I think like, at a certain point, you know, whether we like it or not, we have to make money. Like we, as in just people, products, brands, whatever. So I think that I don't know how. I'm not trying to Monday morning quarterback and be like, oh, we should have monetized this, that. I'm just thinking like if you have an open source project, at some point, the money is probably going to like run out if it's not being. And I'm not saying Automatic is running out of money. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying in general, I feel like you have to monetize things for them to continue to grow, right? So I think that this is an interesting question because the results, I'm trying to analyze the results. So WordPress.com growth. So if WordPress.com and effectively kind of like Automatic in that realm, like the commercialized product of WordPress.com and the hosting and all that, if that grew, then we're asking, is it good or bad for the open source project? I'm thinking it's kind of cool that a lot of people say it's good. If you say it's bad, I'm genuinely kind of confused on your line of thinking, and I would like to hear more about that. But I was thinking it's probably like at least good, right? And then is it irrelevant? I don't see how it could. I don't know if it's really irrelevant. It's interesting that the equal amount of people said good and irrelevant, because if it's irrelevant, what's the thought process there? It's like WordPress.com could grow a ton and the WordPress and the open source project wouldn't matter. I mean, I guess if it's bad, people might be like, oh, the commercialized product is getting bigger, so the open source project isn't going to be like cared about as much. We're kind of seeing this. I don't know if this is still happening. This is still in effect, but I mean, I'm pretty sure isn't Automatic only giving like 40 hours a week or something now to the .org side of things? I feel like that's the case. Not 100% sure. I know it was like that for a little bit because they were like matching WP engines. So I don't know. I just feel like I'm just this whole concept over the last few months and just in general has really been super educational way, because it's like it just makes you think like, you have to do things. Do you? There he is. I didn't see him. Matt Madero says today. It's gonna be live today. I will share it with you guys. But yeah, so this is just an interesting question that if you guys have opinions on, more than happy to talk about them. But I do want to go through some of the other. I was just going poll crazy this week, and something in my mouth. Ew. And I was going poll crazy, and I really want to get your guys' feedback on some of these things. Should WordPress have a Super Bowl commercial next year? This was a great one. And I think I was in the WP Minutes Slack. If you guys aren't in there, you should go head over there and get in there. Support Matt Medeiros and his work. A lot of great people in there that have a lot more experience than I do. And one of those things was Jeff Rowe, affectionately called Jeff Rowe. He apparently, I think, blogged about some level of this like not too long ago, or like I don't know when it was back, like back in, I don't know, era 2 of WordPress, or like around Gutenberg times a few years ago. And interesting thought process, because I didn't realize, because again, it was probably before my main time in this, that Automatic did like commercials, like actual commercials, TV commercials and things like that at one point. And I don't know if like TV commercials is necessarily the best use of your money, but I was watching the Super Bowl and I thought it was funny because I was with my family and they're like, "Oh, we love the commercials and stuff," and I was like, "That's interesting." Commercials were okay. I feel like they've probably gotten less cool over the years, but I was like, should WordPress have a Super Bowl commercial next year? And I was saying that not necessarily in the way of like, do we think that's a good investment per se? I was kind of leaving it open for discussion, and I was thinking like, do we think we need something almost like different? Do we need something that is just kind of like brand awareness in general? Because I'm pretty sure I saw a Squarespace one, as you can see, 2 tweets down here, or two, like I guess before, you can see that I said thank you Squarespace for showing us how to waste 8 million on a Super Bowl commercial. And again, there's a lot of good replies like baked into these threads here. And I don't know, it's just an interesting concept. Like if I was a huge company, would I spend $8 million to get a reasonable amount of eyeballs on my stuff? Just again, pure really brand awareness. And I don't know. I don't I'm trying to think of where WordPress is at and where brands are at in general, and like how Squarespace, just as the example there, makes that call to do that. Like, do more people need to know about these things? Do they need to see what they can do? The Squarespace commercial was this old time, like basically newspaper delivery concept, if you didn't see it, where this guy's riding on a horse in medieval times and he's got a bunch of laptops in his satchel thing, and he's just throwing laptops at people like, here's the news, and it's like a business website on the laptop, like their business website effectively is what he's throwing at them. And like that was kind of interesting, but I was just kind of laughing because like it was one of those things where it was like kind of clever. But I'm always thinking about this because I'm trying to become a better marketer by all the people that I watch and see, and I'm thinking like I just end up defaulting to. I don't know if you guys remember the last couple weeks ago I did a stream where I said that I was like working with some guys on like a new SaaS type of thing, and that's been like going like interestingly well. I've been learning a lot about like the sales and marketing aspect, but it depends on the product that you're offering, and I just feel like the type of product you're offering dictates the type of marketing that you have to do, because it dictates the product is dictating the type of people that you're talking to generally, right? It's like I don't know a better way to say this, but there's like a kind of a, we'll say like a scale of like technical people, designers, like it's either technical, designer, average layperson that just doesn't have a need to be on like the internet that heavily. Maybe it's like some person that in that Squarespace side of things that like, oh, it's a barber, it's a restaurant owner, and like who are we marketing these things at? And I'm just saying like sometimes those types of clever ads, like I knew what they were doing and it still didn't land with me. Could you imagine if like the person like didn't understand what the hell you were talking about? It's like that just seems like kind of a weird thing. It's like I'd almost rather just have you talk directly at the camera for 30 seconds, just tell me exactly what your product does and why it's going to help me. I know it's hard to do. I'm just saying like the cleverness part of it is just kind of funny, because you imagine the amount of money that it takes to make that commercial, the amount of money for the spot. I don't know. It's just kind of I'm not an expert marketer. I'm just kind of like trying to piece together my thoughts that I was having as I was asking all these questions this week. So yeah. But that was kind of an interesting set of things there. I said these were shocking. Was there anything else? Another random thing is I just still think that affiliate minimums are completely whack. I tweeted that like a month ago, and I was like, it's still whack and largely make no sense. Only in cases, certain cases, I can understand when it's a random affiliate trying to pull some sort of fast one. Every other instance is just harming your relationship with third-party affiliates that market your product to their audiences. This is not like a huge deal, but it is just kind of an annoying thing. There's people that make money off affiliate sales, and I'm not talking about like, like, I tend to think that there's different levels to that. Some people hate affiliate links with all their being. By all means, do whatever you got to do, go directly to the site. But if I'm like making a video about something and I'm providing value in that video and I'm showing you it, I'm going to throw an affiliate link in there. I actually just updated my ethics policy on my ethics statement on my website too, to try to like reflect now that I have like a better understanding of things. So that's kind of interesting. We can go through that if you want, but this is just something that's kind of interesting to me. And maybe you guys have dealt with some affiliate stuff here and there or whatever, and it's not the best way to build a business, so it's not something I primarily focus on, but it is like a nice way to exchange value with these types of, with any type of brand. And then I feel like though it's become so ubiquitous, specifically in the WordPress space, that the minimums to get payouts and things like that some of them are really high, some of them are like stupid high. And then there's also like minimums on how many transactions you need to do and all sorts of stuff. And it's just like, if you promise a percentage of the sales that come through, after the return window has obviously, expired and everything like that, you should just pay that out. I'm going to shout it out because it's the best policy I've seen. The best policy that I've seen on this uh, straight up, don't have to ask, don't have to do anything is Perf Matters. And a lot of people love Perf Matters too. Brian's doing a great job over there. Like the best policy, it's the best policy I've seen. It's like literally every month after the window, doesn't matter how much you have, doesn't matter, how many transactions you've done, you just get paid. Like you just have your thing in there and boom, just get paid out. So again, maybe outside the scope of, kind of what you guys deal with on day to day, but I just kind of like I always want to, again, like we're going to do with Jeffrey later today. Like I want to like kind of pull back the, the curtain of what's going on here, because not enough people talk about this shit. And I am an open book. So whatever you want to hear there. I'm navigating this business just like I navigated, and I'm still navigating like the agency side of things, and just building all those things one day. And already in small instances, I am navigating the product space. I want to navigate that much further, because that's something that is, I don't know, I just think that that's next level. If you can get something like that going, I think that's going to be, obviously we can see it when you do it well, it really pays off. So I don't know, just sharing my stuff. Oh, and then today I said 10,609 days without consuming alcohol, because I don't know, never had it. So that's it. All right, so those were kind of the X poll tweets. Hopefully you guys got, okay, my computer froze for a second. Hopefully that didn't mess anything up. Okay, so X poll tweets, cool. One other random thing that I want to show you, because another poll that I did, but it was over here. I try to do both. Let me go to posts real quick here. So I put this up because this is another. I'll give you another inside baseball here real quick. So, what hosting company do you use? Comment below. Got a lot of good feedback on this. Appreciate you guys. Really like important, because I'm trying to understand and I'm trying to navigate the hosting space now. Talked to a lot of great people, Matt Medeiros included, and just trying to understand how, as a value provider, okay, and content creator on the internet, I can like balance this idea of providing content while also exploring new things and telling you about them, and potentially getting paid in order to like explore. Really, I don't see it as getting paid to promote shit, because that's not what I do. Like, we have some videos in the hopper. I'm not just gonna like glaze these companies just because I'm getting paid. That would be stupid as fuck. I am like I'm getting paid, essentially, the way that I think about it, for my time to go in and explore, give candid feedback where like, oh, I like this could be improved. I already have one on the docket that like I literally had to reach out, and I'm like, we need to potentially like wait on this, because I want to make sure that I can actually give my audience like a really good value like piece to this, and like actually help them. And I don't know, I'm telling you guys like literally the whole story here. So the reason I ask about the hosting is because, as you've seen probably on the channel, a sponsor of the channel is Big Scoots, and we've had a couple brand integrations and everything like that with them, and they're great people over there. The trouble with hosting is that there's a fucking million options, and it's like, how do I bridge the gap between providing you guys like actual value while also providing the brand's value, and make that all like work in harmony? And I see some people do it better than others, and it's just like I'm always constantly learning there. So I'm relying on your feedback, and I'm also relying on something like this, like to see like what you guys all use. And this is interesting, because we've gotten like 8 responses here, and everybody is using basically, there's some overlap, but most of it's all different. And that's like incredible to me, because I don't know, I used name.com shared hosting, and then I used Cloudways, and then I used now GridPane with Vultr servers. And I don't know, I mean, my experience has gotten progressively better every time, but there's probably even like different stuff out there for different use cases. And this is where I do want to talk about this for a quick moment. This is where we have this issue of this thing. I kind of want to go over here for a second. We have this thing where we have to like balance, as content creators, as professionals, agency owners, this idea of having a solid stack, right? But having like a solid stack of plugins that we use on every single website, and like go-to hosting and everything like that, versus do we ever deviate from that? Do we ever like this idea of using the same tools all the time, or the right tool for the job? I think there's a lot of overlap there. And I think for most agencies, it's probably easier to just like use the same shit every single time, especially if you're doing similar websites. But the hosting thing comes up, because it's like, This is a tough question. It's like, do you really need self-managed hosting where you have all the bells and whistles and every single button, or do you just need managed hosting that has all the power, but you don't get to necessarily play with every single dial? And this is a common theme that I'm seeing now in the industry, the hosting industry, and WordPress specifically in general. Like, because people just don't use the shit. Like they like literally, like for me in GridPaint as an example, like there's so many things in there, and I've talked to Patrick directly about this. We had a live stream, like they literally are pivoting kind of that way as well to more like just the managed experience. And it's going to get quite interesting because now like every hosting company, a lot of them are moving that direction. And I'm starting to wonder like I need like as again a value provider, I need to think of like all the differentiating factors that could possibly go into like XYZ hosting, ABC hosting, da da da, like whatever, and think about how that would all play out. And then ultimately, I guess one way is to come to you guys and be like, okay, so I'm asking like a general hosting question. Okay, cool. But then the next thing is like, what do you care about the most? The trouble is, I'm a little jaded in asking that question because I think everybody's going to care about mostly the same shit. Like they're going to want good support when they need it. They're going to want good, like obviously fast websites, optimized for mostly WordPress. Some of them might want to do other things though. Some of you guys might want to do have other types of apps that you can load up onto there. Maybe certain hosting only lets you do WordPress. So yeah, it's just, and then I think a lot of people too. There's a section of people that are probably like really good at like server admin work, which I'm not, and know like most of the buttons and the dials and the settings. But then there's probably some people, and I've probably fallen into this category, probably less now, is like I want all the control, even though I know I'm not going to do anything with it. You know what I mean? It's like I want to have this whole thing at my disposal where I can see and check on all these different things and tune things if I want. But I know the likelihood of me actually taking the time to get in there and really experiment almost with shit is probably unlikely. It's like, especially if you're running an agency at scale at this point, not even at scale, but just like a reasonable agency where you have 10, 15 client sites or whatever, and you just want the shit to work and you're just trying to make more websites. In 2025, I'm going to be honest with you, my lay of the land purview right now is that you really do not need to be a server admin. Like there's so many good companies out there now that are providing good quality hosting. I'm not, like not shared hosting like we had, several years ago, and that was kind of like the only thing to get in. The stuff is not really that expensive. Plus, like you pass the costs on to the client anyway. So it's just a whole thing. It's really interesting in a lot of ways, but at the same time, it's like, how do you bridge that gap again as a content creator, but more so as an agency owner? Like, what do you do there? So mostly, I think a lot of people are going to be like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you're happy with your hosting provider, I'm never going to tell you to like leave. But I do want to kind of shine a light on some of these other companies. Again, just I want to go back to Big Scoots for a second because again, they've sponsored the channel. We're probably going to do stuff in the future. Um, I've talked to them. I have colleagues that use them directly. I want to use them a little bit just to kind of get more of a feel for everything. And I'm talking to them, and I'm watching the feedback in the videos that we showcase them in a little bit. And I talk to other people. People don't know about them. You know what I mean? Like it's like a 14-year-old company, and they don't know about them. And they're just one example. My point is, there's a ton out there, and there's a lot of people that are doing really cool things and hosting companies that I feel like are doing some cool stuff. And I don't know. It's just there's a lot of options out there that I feel like people could benefit from knowing about. Especially, there was at least one in the hosting thread that I put up there that people are looking for better alternatives. So I think it's always something that people are kind of considering because they probably see like one thing in the space, and they're like, or they see something about theirs that they don't like, and then they're like, there's these other ones that are doing cool stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Curtis says the real Matt is in the house. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. David, what's up? What's up? Thank you for being here, brother. Grand Canyon says we use Tiger Technologies out of Berkeley, Berkeley best knowledge base in hosting. Interesting. That's a great one. I've never even heard of that. So I got to look that up now. Appreciate that, Grand Canyon. Thank you. Yeah. So that's my point. There's just a lot of stuff that is out there, and hopefully we can continue to shed some light on these different ones. Yeah. Brady said, "Yeah, I did a deep dive on web hosting a couple months ago. I don't know if it's a Unpopular if it's unpopular, but I hate managed WordPress hosting. Love cPanel hosting, less limiting, more flexible for hosting web apps on subdomain. Yeah, I mean, I would say specifically cPanel. This concept of cPanel is probably you might be in the minority there. I've heard people like just don't like that. I used it. My experience with cPanel is I used it for shared hosting. That was the interface that like name.com had because I guess that was the technology that was running like basically a box and you would have like neighbors and noisy neighbors and all that sort of stuff. So I had it there. Then I moved over to Cloudways, and I think what Cloudways was is effectively they I don't know if it's still exactly like this, but the thing with Cloudways, I'll give you there's a video on my channel. I'll give you the 2 second version of this. Cloudways was you go to Cloudways, you pick a server like Vultr, DigitalOcean, whatever. I think they got bought by DigitalOcean. So you at the time that you pick like AWS, whatever, you're on like a DigitalOcean server, but you're logging in through Cloudways and your admin UI, like basically the server admin UI, effectively, I guess, is Cloudways. Like they built that technology that's stacked kind of like on top of it. The problem with Cloudways is that made it so you didn't have cPanel, but you still had like VPS hosting and you didn't have any neighbors or whatever. Like you paid for the resources you got and that's what you got. But the problem with Cloudways, if you want to call it a problem, and again, I don't even know if this is a real problem for me because I would have never actually known this necessarily. The problem with Cloudways at that time, maybe still is, not sure, is that you don't have like root access and you don't actually own that box. You don't have a relationship with the people that actually own your shit. So think of it like this: like you're paying Cloudways. The money you're paying Cloudways is just like going through to DigitalOcean. Let's say DigitalOcean's actually the server box provider. Cloudways is on top of it, and you're paying like a markup there. The markup is what it is. Like it was a fine experience. The point is that if something, I thought when I realized this, if something happened and I needed to, like there was a Cloudways issue or whatever, I wouldn't have access to my actual shit on my box. You know what I mean? Now, again, it's somewhere else in the world anyway. It's not like I can go plug a fucking USB stick into it or whatever, like do it. You know what I mean? It's not, it's kind of ridiculous in a way, but you don't have like what I'll just call root access. So, so my point there is that when I found out about GridPane, at the time where they were heavily into the self-managed stuff, I think they've kind of pivoted, you know, per our live stream with Patrick a couple months ago at this point. That was the idea. It's like GridPane is something you pay for that's separate. It kind of sits atop it, but you actually just like right now I pay Vultr directly for boxes, for like VPS boxes, and then I pay GridPane for the thing that sits atop that. Now, is that more expensive? It's actually it actually is cheaper, I think, my current setup that I had at Cloudways. Is it more convoluted slightly? Yeah, because you're paying two people maybe. But is it more? What's the risk like? It's probably in a way I feel like there's less risk because now you have two companies that you're kind of dealing with and you have direct access to, like Vultr if something would happen, like kind of at GridPane, I guess is kind of the way I understand it. Luckily, we've had no issues, but that's the way that I kind of came to reason all that in my head. All that said, that we're at the point now where I was saying earlier where like managed hosting is just keeps improving. And it's not just the companies that just started offering managing hosting. It's literally companies that offered self-managed hosting and were like, we need a managed hosting option, or we're going to pivot more directly almost all the way into managed hosting because the amount of people that actually need and utilize self, like all the bells and whistles, is so low. If you want that, you can still obviously get that, but that's just kind of the thought process and everything that I've seen so far. Phil, what's up? What's up? Thank you so much for being here, man. I'm doing swell. We talking about a lot of good shit here. So Grand King, yeah, TigerTech.net search. It's absolutely amazing. It looks like something from the 1980s, but it's unbelievably comprehensive. Support is way better than anything we've encountered. Interesting. Interesting. Is it just Tiger? Let's see. Tiger Tech. That ain't it. I know you can't see it. Hang on a sec. Oh, is it this one? Yeah, you weren't lying. You weren't lying. That's interesting. It definitely does look old, but you know, I mean, if it works, it works. This is the other thing I'm talking about, though, guys. Like Grand Canyon sounds like he's having a fantastic experience with this product. Would I land on this screen and want to buy this? No, probably not. But if I actually read through all this stuff, it's probably going to be very similar. But again, I don't know. I'm just thinking, stream of consciousness stuff here. Like this is the type of shit that we see. I feel like on a day-to-day basis, right? Like this right here is probably, according to Grand Canyon and according to all the shit, again, if we read this, probably on par in a lot of ways with the stuff that we see that's all flashy and shit, but it's just not flashy. Like it's just like I don't know Tiger Tech here necessarily, but I'm just saying they just devoted not like a ton of time or energy or money into like marketing this part of this of their offer, so to speak. Now, we could have a totally separate discussion on like good, bad, and different on that. Could they have a lot more customers? Possibly, but it doesn't. Whatever. They want to do that. They don't want to do that. Whatever. My point is that there is times where I feel like you can't judge products solely based on their marketing, because it seems like these guys, might be doing fine since 1999. They've had the same website since 1999. Is what it is. I don't know where I need to go. Oh, look at all this: basic hosting, plus hosting. Kind of interesting. I don't know. Kind of cool. Little blast from the past. Phil says we built our own hosting as everything else was just meh. That is quite the tall task there, Phil. I'd love to hear more about that. That didn't come across my mind, but God, that's more power to you, brother. That's awesome. That's crazy. Oh man. Brennan said, "Man, what do you eat? Your face is like full here." I had somebody else ask me that question yesterday, and I don't know if I'm just a fast healer or what the case is. I mean, I try to drink some water and shit, and I do get my beauty rest, but it's a little red still. There's definitely some scar tissue up there, but I appreciate that. Yeah. SiteGround. That's funny. SiteGround too. Like I heard a lot about SiteGround like a few years ago, and then obviously they're still doing their thing. That was around the time, just as a quick aside there, that was around the time where I was thinking, I think I was moving from name.com or just getting into Cloudways, and I heard a lot of people talking about SiteGround, and like I never understood, because I didn't dive into it enough. Is it shared hosting? Do they have VPS hosting? Because it seemed like it was always like $2 a month or something. I was like, what are we getting for this? But then I heard it was like really fast shared hosting. I thought so at one point. So I'm speaking out of turn here because I'm just asking questions. But yeah, just trying to think about all that and kind of go through those progressions. Like way back when I was like thinking like should I move to that? Should I do whatever? But I mean, I've heard a lot of people have like really good experience with that. What do we got here? Phil says we host over 1,000 sites and would never trust another host again. Damn. Is that for purchase, or is it just for yourself? Yeah, Phil, that's fucking crazy, bro. There's a reason why it's $2 a month. Normally there is. What's up? What's up, DK? D123. What's up, man? How you been? Good morning, Mark. Is there scheduled upcoming WP Town Hall? Twitter doesn't notify. Yeah, so yes, there is. I don't know if I should spill the beans. I'm thinking about it because I like you guys. But let me double check the calendar so I don't get the date wrong. So today's Thursday the 13th. Yeah, we should probably actually say this anyway. Here's the problem, real quick, again, inside baseball, is like when you schedule this shit, it's like, yeah, you can click the notify button, but it's like there's kind of an art form, I feel like, in scheduling live content. Spaces, these live streams, obviously, these live streams end up getting scheduled like 15 minutes before. That's probably too soon. But there's a lot of people that schedule the live streams like a week before, and then it's like it's almost like lost, because if you don't see it, then it's like you don't get notified. If you don't click the button, you don't get notified. I don't know, it's a whole thing. But my point is that with WP Town Hall, we're kind of on that thing as well. We do have one scheduled 2 p.m. Eastern on Monday, so mark your calendars for that. We'll have it up there. We normally schedule on Kevin's because I've had some issues with the scheduling of the spaces on mine and everything, so I just let him handle that. So that'll probably be over on Kevin's. Obviously, make sure you guys are following Kevin. And Monday, 2 p.m. I don't know if I should tell you the guest. It's going to be a good one. I don't know if I should tell you the guest, though. Um, Back and forth on it. If somebody guesses the guest, I will tell you. I'll tell you, but we got to keep it between us. I'm just kidding. But if somebody guesses the guest in the chat, I will tell you that it is. But I don't know if I could just spill the beans yet. Although we're probably gonna do it like today or tomorrow anyway, so it's not a big deal. I'm just building hype. You know what I mean? So yeah. Okay, so Phil, you just use that for clients, not other people. That's interesting, man. I feel like I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people that are looking for good hosting, so it's definitely something that could possibly be cool. Matt, not yet. No, no. Um, we've been working on some. I've been working on part of my duty because Kevin's a madman, is extremely busy. Partly what I try to do is I try to find, like, we talk all the time. And we're like thinking, like, guests and stuff like that, and I'm trying to like work the leads, so to speak. And we have some really interesting people that we'd like to bring on. And obviously everyone's busy, but there's just like so much going on that sometimes people just don't want to, feel like they just don't want to talk. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of events and all that sort of stuff coming up. So yeah, let me go. Matt, do we mean Matt? Matt Mullenweg? Not, it's not Matt Mullenweg. It's not Matt Medeiros. Brian Gardner? No, but they just did a good one. Him and Brian not too long ago. I don't think that one got recorded, unfortunately. We bring on Bev from accounting. No, we can't find her. She's on vacation. Uh, that's fine. But speaking of events here, real quick, I updated this. I wanted to let you guys kind of know because I see you guys somewhere in the world here. Again, I had a really good time with everyone at WordCamp US last year, and I have this page on my website now that I just threw up here for like events and everything like that. So I'm gonna be in Germany in a month. Damn, that's crazy. I'm gonna have to go across the Atlantic. I'm actually a media partner over there, so that was pretty dope. Working with the Grade team, working with the CloudFest team. Going to be doing some cool stuff, some cool content. Definitely, if you guys don't go, I'll definitely show you guys some like recap footage and photos and everything like that. I'm really excited for it. There's the hackathon piece, there's the regular piece. You guys can go here, check out more stuff and everything like that. Press comp, extremely excited for this. I mean, this a lot of hype around it. Tempe, Arizona. I think there's going to be golf. I mean, it's gonna be sick. Supposed to do a live stream too with Raquel, who's putting it all together. I think in a couple weeks, so that'll be dope. You guys can hear more about that. But if you guys can swing it and you guys can get out to these places, I would love to see you there. And I think we could. Again, it's not just me. I do have a little thing here. If we go back, I will be on the stage at PressConf. The talk and everything like that. This stuff that we're doing isn't necessarily announced yet, but I will be on the stage, so that's super exciting. So there's gonna be a lot of cool stuff going on in Arizona. So hopefully to see you guys there. And then I just got the other ones down here because I'm thinking about. I mean, if assuming WordCamp US, everything like that is good, we're gonna run it back next year. Everyone in Portland, that's gonna be dope. And then I might go to CloudFest USA as well in November. So if anybody's down in the Miami area, we could definitely link up there as well. So I don't know, just something cool because I'm actually like I've literally never traveled much at all, like other than random family vacations since that WordCamp last year was like the first thing. So I was like, I need to keep track of this. I mean, I keep track of my calendar, but I need to keep track of it from this angle. So yeah, we're just playing around with that. Some cool things there. Would love to see y'all out there. Phil says hosting should be measured by support, not features. That's an interesting thing. I think a lot of people do kind of want that, and I think that's one of the things I noticed with Big Scoots, but specifically, like, I guess part of that is if something goes wrong, how fast does the support get back to you? It's something that I've noticed with GridPane. Like, shit happens, and then I just get emails. Like, it automatically submits a ticket, and then it automatically gets rectified, and I get an email from support agent saying, "Hey, we fixed this for you." I'm like, that's amazing. Thank you, because I didn't even know something was wrong because it was in the middle of the night. But I think that definitely is a big piece of it. That said, maybe we're at the point now where speed is kind of just like speed. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's like unless you actually go out of your way to to fuck things up, which I know it's possible, right? Let's say you just have like baseline decent VPS hosting that you're on, and you're not trying to load up 150 plugins with the most bloated code possible. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn here because I mean, again, with my brick situations, the past few years, like, or past one, a few years, like a year and a half now, I have pretty much had no issues, like not like nothing noticeable that I've had experience in the past when I was on like either weaker servers or like more bloated tools. I just think everything's getting better. The whole ecosystem in that realm, for the most part, I feel like at least like the main top dogs. I did that stream like a couple weeks ago with looking at Elementor. Like, yeah, there's some things that like I would change or whatever, and like I don't like feel like are fantastic, but even the things that were ubiquitously almost coined as like bloated as fuck, they're not really, like, they're getting better, and the plans are for them to get better. So my point is, I'm not trying to make this a performance thing, bricks versus Elementor. I'm just saying that the hosting is kind of your foundation for a lot of those things, right? So it's like, I'm wondering if we're reaching this point now where, when I started, it was like, oh, name.com, cheap hosting, shared hosting, whatever, XYZ hosting, whatever. That was my entry point. But now if you could get like half decent hosting on your own VPS for like $20 a month or whatever, 20 to $30 a month, and you could put multiple websites on that were low. I don't normally do that, but you could put like multiple like low traffic, like brochure websites on there and not have any issues. I just feel like the game's changed so quickly, so fast. And I just say all that to say that you still need the support piece, because when something goes wrong, things will go wrong. You need that. And I'm wondering if that's the case, is like features are just they're not mattering as much because the delta between like the main ones, the main like good hosting options out there, and there's a lot of them, isn't that vast. I don't know, just a thought process there. Off topic, Szymanski's a Polski name, isn't it? Yes, it's Polish, but I'm probably like 75% Italian. My dad was adopted, so that's like an adopted name. I have no idea. I could be something else, but I'll never know. uh, yeah, WooCommerce will fuck things up. Yeah. Yeah, it can get heavy. Stuff can get heavy real fast, for sure. Let me see here. Again, I want to reiterate, if you guys, just to kind of wrap up that whole part of the polls, the things that we're doing and everything like that, I have a laundry list of ideas in Notion right now that I'll use for, different types of either video content or live stream content. If you guys have anything, shoot me a DM, comment on a video, say it in the chat, because I want to continue to like, I have a bunch of ideas and I will continue to do them. But if you guys have direct ideas that I can directly provide value for, like a weird dynamic data thing, or, some sort of like build for something else, like, I just want to make note of those so I can actually address them directly, because I do want to make sure that I'm tuning what I'm doing to you guys, just because I want to provide the most value possible. So I always want to continue to say that. I have an interesting story that I could share that might resonate with a lot of you, and from yesterday. So it's about kind of like a sales call that I had, probably the best sales call, discovery call, synergy session call that I've ever had. I also want to find the recent video that I did, so if you guys haven't seen it, maybe you get some value out of it. Let me see. It was how I vet web design clients. Get rid of this stupid time code. There we go. So there was this video that I did a little bit ago, and it was how I vet web design clients and how you can too. And the concept around that was that, maybe I could just kind of scroll through just a couple of these. Did I show anything on here? Yeah, I did. Yeah, so like, hang on a sec. Let me go over here. So real quick, I'm not gonna like use like all the time here to look at this, but like, so this is just like a simple website. I redid the website, made it super more standardized, because I wanted to rebuild it in bricks and want to like add more. This is the agency website, findatech.com. I just kind of, in this video, I go through like some tricks and tips and, things, the flow that I kind of like think. And I'm not going to rehash everything, but it kind of is pertinent to what I'm talking about here. These are some of the ways that I think that you should kind of vet your clients. And more specifically, there's the technical aspect and the flow aspect, but there's really like questions. And this section right here, why I call it a synergy session, not a discovery call, is I had this literally happen. I've had it happen before, but I had it, the most recent one was literally yesterday. And I want to tell you this story about it because I think it's really a different mind shift that it took me a long time to really like fully grasp and understand. So I'm just going to try to rehash it real quick, and maybe I'll make another standalone video, but it's very fresh right now. And I was talking to another colleague about it yesterday, and I like recorded my just straight up thoughts after it happened yesterday. And yeah, so I've had client, it's different clients and colleagues and everything like that. I've had them for a few years. I get a random cold email yesterday from somebody, and they say, "Hey, so and so referred me to you for website development and all that sort of stuff." And honestly, I don't get those too often, and I don't get them too often because I haven't set up an incredible referral system with that business. I honestly, I would highly recommend, as a side note, like actual referral program, like where your clients get more money for referring you more clients. I would really recommend that. I don't know why more people don't do that, or at least a discount or something. But that's an aside. We can talk about that later. My point is that I'm not heavily marketing the agency stuff because I only have so much time, and I'm trying to do this stuff more, right? So truthfully, if you think about who I'm talking to, I'm mostly talking to other agency owners and freelancers. So they don't want websites. They're building websites. They need a different type of product or service or information. So that's just the way the content that I've had is the content I've been making is tuned. So I don't get these types of emails too often. So I get this email and I'm like, that's interesting, cool. I'll definitely chat because I'm always trying to learn and make new connections and all that sort of stuff. I actually directly call and we have a nice chat, 15 minutes. Couple highlights that I want to make from that situation. The first one is I kept it to 15 minutes. If you asked me how many times I have taken I call it a synergy session again. You see it in the video, but the reason I do is because it's really to assess good fit. It's not to learn your life story. It's not to learn every aspect of your business. But 90% of the time in the past, I have done that. And I've spent like an hour and a half on the phone with somebody that I have no idea. Maybe I don't know who they are exactly. Like I don't know their business. I don't know how much budget they have. I don't know any of that stuff. Like just think about this from a business perspective. It's not being an asshole that you can't spend all day with this person. It's I have shit to do and we have to make money as a business here. Okay, that's the frame of mind that I've now sunk into, and I think I fully have kind of grasped it. I love talking to people, but like we're talking for a reason. We got to understand that our objective of this call is to assess fit between me as the agency or freelancer or whatever you call yourself and you as the potential client. Okay? If you do not do that, you fail the call. Like both parties fail the call. Like it's a waste of both people's time because they're looking to get their shit done. They're looking to have a website built. You're looking to get more clients and build websites. If I've got on so many calls where like I ask a fuck ton of questions, my mind goes and goes and goes because I know that there's like all this stuff that we could do for these clients and like like build their business up from a digital perspective and all this sort of stuff. And then they tell me, yeah, that sounds cool. That sounds cool. That sounds cool. And then we get to the end of the call and I'm like, okay, I'll send you a proposal. And they're like, okay, great. And then I hit them with a fucking $20,000 proposal and they're like, that's great, but I have $6.82 to pay for this. So it's like, my point is that you can't do that. And it doesn't work for you. It's not good for you. It's not good for them. So what I did on this 15-minute phone call, I'm very proud of myself for this 15-minute. Again, like I said, and you guys may be on a different position, but if you're not and you've had this issue, then this is what happened. I pretty much was just like, I asked the pertinent questions. It's a newer business. I was like, just kind of like understanding all those types of things, kind of like getting a little idea of the business model and, what they were doing, where they were at in it, how many team members, that type of thing, getting the very basics. I was trying to understand like what their prerogatives were. I was also acting like the expert from a marketing perspective. I was literally like kind of giving a little bit of like expertise and authority definitely in there, meaning like, like I was agreeing with their thing. Like most of the clients that will come to you, the prospects that will come to you, they're going to be like, and they're new businesses, which some people don't deal with new business. Like I totally understand why, but if they're new businesses, they just need something. Honestly, they just feel like they need something. Do they even really need something? That's like totally like a separate conversation, but they just feel like they need something. Oh, we need a website as a business. We could have a 15-hour discussion on like the actual nuance of that, but let's just say they do need something. If they do need something, then you need to be the one that can provide the something, not the fucking everything. And that is who I am starting to realize that I need to be if I take on those types of jobs. You can't go into that. You can't even have that conversation if you don't like, you have to be able to assess it and be like, this is a brand new company, brand new. All they need is like 5-page website and jump in and do that. There's a ton of caveats. Like, should you actually do that? Are those the type of people you want to work with? All that sort of stuff. You can answer those for yourself and it's going to differ for everyone. But the point is that you can't have a conversation without like actually admitting that to yourself. I'm not going to go to a new business like that and pitch a $20,000 fucking thing. So, long story short, good call. Very succinct, probably shortest call ever. And it was good though. Like, it wasn't like short, like get off the phone. It was like short and good. And I was like, okay, so based on everything I'm hearing here, you really just need the basics. We're happy to provide that for you. And I gave him a price range. And I was like, $6,000, $4,000, right? Somewhere in there. And you know, obviously the monthly. And I was like, and what happened here was interesting, okay? Because I've done this before, and again, your mileage may vary with this, but I'm just trying to give you guys like a framework potentially to try. I gave a ballpark. Could have even been bigger ballpark, but I gave a ballpark number that I felt. Some of that was gut, but some of it was also, a lot of it was experience. It's like, if we're gonna keep this scope very minimized, then this'll do. So I gave these numbers like 6,000 to 4,000. Also said the big number first, which is like something. You're like, I think what I'm gonna do now, I'm literally just giving you the random shit that's coming in my head. I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna say 6,000 at the top end. Like when they say like how much, or like when I go to say how much, I'm gonna be like 6,000 at the top end, and maybe like 4,000, you know, on the low end, somewhere in there. And like you anchor it high, and you're just a little psychology thing. I don't know if it fucking matters, but my point is like, you just give them a range. And then something really interesting happened. And I don't know if it's going to happen every time. But when you give them the range, they're normally like, okay, or something, you know, like people just say, shut up. But what happened here was I also followed it up and I was like, so just given that, you know, we talked for like 10, 15 minutes. I know what you need for the most part. You know that you needed something. And I'm going to be like, okay, what do, you know what you need. I know kind of like the lay of it. This is how much I think. I asked literally directly. I was like, does that shock you? Do those numbers shock you? Like, does it feel like too high, like too low? Like what's your vibe? And they literally gave me pricing information that they kind of heard from like, you know, like a GoDaddy or whoever else, right? So my point is that you're selling the shit, but you're being honest, you're being upfront, and you're being like literally transparent in like what's going to happen. I can't get off a phone anymore. I need to remember this. I can't get off a phone anymore and not tell people how much this is going to cost, because then I had to like kind of respin up a couple things, like with the, like once I got confirmation that you can do this a different way. Once I got confirmation that the number that I was going to show on a piece of paper was not going to shock the fuck out of this person, then I was like, okay, I can give you the piece of paper. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not going to waste my time writing up a proposal that isn't even in your price range. But the way in which I asked that, I wasn't like, how much do you think this is going to cost? You know what I mean? Like how much do you have to spend? People don't respond very well to that question, which I guess I get, you know what I mean? But my thing is, I'm not telling you this is like the way to do this. I'm just trying to document my experience. And I think that I'm not sure if I'm going to get that project or not. I think I got an email or a call or something from the lead and everything like that. Like I gotta go through it. My thing is like, what I'm saying is that is better than not knowing and just feeling like, literally, okay, imagine the alternative. You get off this phone call, you have zero idea where they're at price wise, what they think is going to happen. You draft up a proposal for $15,000. You spend how much fucking time doing that? Then you send it just for them to be like, Yeah, really appreciate you sending this over, but this is way out of our price range. Thanks so much. We're going with somebody else. Like, I'd rather know the price range that I'm not saying I'm adjusting my price to fit their price range. I'm making sure that the scope and the price that I would charge for that is within their perceivable range that they would potentially go with, right? I just didn't do this for a very long time. Maybe I'm an idiot and I just didn't do this. But that's the concept that is really, I feel like I got better at it. And I'm happy about that because I needed to get better at that to be a better salesperson. Not even a salesperson, just more fucking efficient. Like I was wasting time doing these projects because these people like didn't, they thought one thing and I thought another thing, and regardless of how much value you provide, people only have so much money if they're willing to spend on shit. And it's just like, it's just stupid. You know what I mean? If it would have went differently and they were like, oh, we're looking for $2,000 thing, it's like, well, I mean, maybe I can give you like a one pager for $2,000 or something like that. But if not, it's whatever, and then you're done. Like you only wasted 15 minutes, and really, it's not even a waste. Like you got a little bit better. Like it's not whatever. My point is that I don't know how long it takes you guys to put together proposals, but sometimes I like to go in the weeds a little bit too much. So my point is like, if you're gonna take the time to do that, make sure you at least have a fucking like partial chance at getting the job. You're not going to get every one, but make sure that you at least get like a partial, you have a reasonable sense of like, these people are not going to be shocked by whatever they see on this proposal. Because if they're shocked, then it's like, I don't know. What do you have to do now? You got to fucking sell them on taking out a loan to get this thing done. I don't know. I haven't navigated that one yet, but those are my thoughts on that. And I'm happy with my progression so far. What do we got here? Guest Mark Westgard. We're still in the guest. Not Mark Westgard. We did one with him not too long ago. Hello from Cape Cod. What's up, David? Thank you for being here. We just spent 2 months writing a 60-page tender. Damn. I hope you get that one. Yeah, I hope you get that one because that's a big one. That's a lot of time. And again, I'm not saying that you can't spend time writing proposals. Obviously, it matters. But I would just feel like, I've deployed this strategy a little bit, and I feel like it's potentially working a little bit better than the random ass guessing that I was doing before. So yeah, 1 to 2 hours a day, nice. So like 60 to 120. No, yeah, 60 to 120 hours. Yeah, not bad. I mean, definitely a lot there. I hope you get it. Sweet. Okay. What else am I working on here? What are we talking about? So my boy, and honestly, at this point, the automation guru of the space here, Brendan O'Connell, has been helping me to try to do some cool automation stuff. I need to know how much. I feel like we're in an interesting spot here because I feel like automation is like super dope, but at the same time, like for me, there's quickly becoming like too many options, and then there's like I'm trying to weigh these different things, and I just wish that like the problem with automation is sometimes you have to put in a lot of time up front. This is like a lot of things, but you have to put in a lot of time up front to save recurring time, which is a good investment. But you have to like care enough to do it, and you also have to know enough to do it. And those two things just get like really like it's not the problem with automation. I feel like in some senses is it's not super rewarding very fast. Like for instance, if you're learning bricks or something, very quickly you could get like something on a page and see it. With automation, it's like there's like 10 fucking steps in a flow, and you don't actually get anything almost until you're like to the end in a way, because you're not actually automating enough of the process to make it work. But I don't know. My point is that I'm really interested in the dynamic data piece. I'm somewhat interested in the API piece of it as it revolves to WordPress. Those two things naturally end up, I feel like, in automation land, because when you're doing things that are kind of like repetitive, or, in my case, like, I don't know, I'll go back over the website to give you guys an actual example of what I'm trying to do here, so it's more visual. Is like over here, right? So we have these tools, which I need to continue to improve on and everything like that, because this looks kind of like ass in some ways. But like my concept here is to put all my tools here that I've used, that I've partnered with, everything like that, on here so I can give you guys some context. I don't just want to list this shit like this. It's just where it's at right now. I want to give you actual opinions on every single one of these things. Just got to give me some time, There's a lot of shit here. But I want to give you the reasons behind what I like, what I don't like about all of them. So you click in, you see that. Right now, they kind of just go out to the things themselves, which is, phase one. But my point is, these are all the tools, right? And I want you to use this concept to think about your own websites for your clients and for yourself. I am creating a network, a web like inside of this website. These are tools, right? And then this concept of relationship that we all know and love, right? The tools are going to be related to other things because I make content, right? So if I made a video about ACF or advanced theme or whatever, like I want to be able to relate that piece of content to that tool. Whether it's, again, let's say video to tool effectively would be the relationship. So right now I'm messing around with this. You guys are getting a sneak peek because I don't. This is not. It's live page, but it's not like linked up anywhere. There's this concept of what I have a video archive over here, right? So I want to be able to. I can do this. I could do it manually. I could do it all manually, but I don't want to because that would suck ass. I want to be able to automatically put all these things on here. We've talked about this before. I tried to do this with a plugin. That's a whole nother thing that I've experimented with, and I've like kind of got to the point where it's like, what do you build custom plugins for versus what do you just automate? Honestly, man, like if you can automate the shit with like an N8N or something like that, that's probably the better way to go. Because if you're not a developer, then you're gonna have to manage code and shit, and it's just like a nightmare. So I think that I have some of these videos here, right, where I was like experimenting with stuff. Still good things, still interesting things to know. But Brendan and I might be doing some cool stuff here with some of the automation pieces. And he already has this type of thing like set up. I think he's done it in active pieces. Everybody's moving to N8N because it's new kid on the not really new kid, but it's the big thing that everybody's doing now. So the idea is, if you go to this page now, you'll see some shit that's just like whatever. But the concept would be that you'd click into this video, for instance, and then you're gonna see underneath it. If I can pause this, there we go. I don't know why. Does anybody's player do this? Like my YouTube, different players, like for some reason, I don't know if this is a Chrome thing. Sometimes that happens, and that's just like very strange. It just starts like glitching like that. Don't know why. Might be an extension or something I have. But anyway, the concept here is like I'm taking my YouTube videos and I'm embedding them. This will be all done automated, and it just happens every time a new video gets posted. Do all that, and then it's in here. But also there'd be sections in here where it's like related tools. And then now, if you look at this on my website, if you're perusing the website, now you can see like on the tool, like on Claude, the Claude single, you would see videos about Claude, and then you go over and click a video, and then on that video you would see, oh, featured in this video are these tools, and then you can go over to my tools page. It's not rocket science. It's not crazy innovative. It's just super dope. Like to have that whole web like built into your kind of website and the things that you got going on there. So I love that. I love the dynamic data, the relations, and everything like that. So I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to do this quickly, like as efficiently as possible, so I don't have to be physically uploading this shit every single time, copying, pasting data, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, working on that still. Haven't fully fleshed that out, but we have some really cool tools now at our disposal. So hopefully we're gonna do that. And yeah, speaking of that, another thing that I was trying, is it in here? I think it is in here. I think I can look at it here real quick. Where am I at here? If I go in the back end of the website here, I got an email yesterday from Sure Triggers, and it said that they now have a YouTube app module thing. So if I go in here and I go to my workflows, I was playing around with this. So this is another thing. Obviously, N8N is pretty dope. Like, it's sick. But there's this concept now where there's automation tools that stand alone, and then there's these WordPress automation tools, and there's more and more popping up. So it's like, if you're in WordPress land heavily, do you use one that's like built in your website, or do you use something outside and like kind of like off in or whatever? I don't know the best way, but the point is that I was building this simple flow here, and I put a like a video, some feedback in there. I think it's their Slack, and I was like, there's some interesting things going on here. Like, you can configure this to, again, it's just automating, like putting videos in, so you can save the videos and like your title and everything like that. ID, posted at date, all that sort of stuff. So there's some cool things happening here as well. And this is all kind of like, again, baked into your UI. So the thing with automation is, I love it. I love the concept, but it's a two-parter. You have to really have something that you could actually automate. It's very step based in my opinion with this automation thing, okay? It's part of it is kind of annoying. The reason it's kind of annoying is that it's annoying because you have to you have to be doing something so much that the thought comes into your mind to automate it. Okay, so that's step one. Now, I have a process that I do all the time that it's just fucking annoying and it's pretty standardized. Okay, so I have the process. Now I have to, okay, I can automate this. Like it's automatable. Okay, so then you have to go and you have to be like, all right, well, what am I going to use to automate this? Like, what's the best thing? Got to find that whole situation out. But then not only that, you have to at the same time or as you're tinkering, you have to be like, how hard is it going to be to automate this in the tool that I'm in? How technical do I want to get and all that sort of stuff. There's probably a ton of people out there that could automate a ton of shit in their business, but they don't have the knowledge and they don't want to know the knowledge of like how to use N8N. This is why automation agencies exist, which I think they're making bank. But the point is like that's kind of the weird thing is if you want to do this stuff for yourself, you have to like go find it, and then also you have to get educated on it, obviously. But it's also there's like limitations sometimes, and the limitations are weird because either the platform's limiting you or the fucking API is limiting you. Like the other thing I wanted to do, hopefully I'll get it at one point, is I want to have my stats on my website as well for like subscribers and all that sort of stuff, like a few of those things. But I want to do it with across different platforms. YouTube is decent, works well enough for that. What's it called? The other thing, X works pretty good, but LinkedIn apparently their API is a piece of shit. Like you can't like get that type of information, or it's difficult. Like it's not as straightforward as the other one. So it's just I'm not trying to rant or complain here. I'm just telling you the reality of the situation that this is while automation sounds easy and guys like Brendan make it look easy. Like that's been my experience so far. You have to like have the idea, find a thing that's going to work. Then there's going to be roadblocks there. It is again like other things, but it's a different kind of difficult, I feel like, because you're dealing with all these other external factors rather than just like, oh, in WordPress, like, Bricks can pretty much do everything. So that's a bad example. But like, oh, this plugin can't do anything. Well, there's another plugin that can, or maybe I could just like, at this point, just ask Claude to fix something or something like that. It's just bringing like a bunch of different factors into play. But I'm enjoying the process. So I guess that's all you can kind of ask for. Yeah. So, um, Phil said simple API request one night daily and you're off. I tried to do that with the plugin situation. Maybe you guys can tell me how to do this real quick because I don't know how to do this. I got the automation thing like working relatively well, but here's the thing: if I have the YouTube API and I'm pulling in like the max res thumbnail, it comes in as a URL. So if you go to it, you can see it. I think I know how I'm going to end up doing it, but like, if I tasked you guys with, I gave you a URL that is an image, right? Like it's, just shows an image where the image like lives, like it's its path, on whatever fucking server or anywhere. How would you get that into WordPress? Like into the media library, would you JSON that right into the media library itself? Because I think that this works really well. The shirt triggers way works really well. I was working with Claude and N8N yesterday. And I was like, just do a post HTTP request into the media part of the REST API, and then and then like it's in there, and then you can just kind of like reference that when you put in the post and say like this is the piece of media that I want to use because it's already in your website. I think it's just a two-step approach, but I think it obfuscates it a lot. I feel like in like the sure triggers way as an example. So yeah, I don't know. Brady said, my video players like Instagram people websites always glitches. If you get too many background process it just doesn't seem to interesting. I I got like allegedly 128 gigs of RAM, so I don't know if that's my issue, but Chrome is a bitch, so I wouldn't put it past it. Yeah. I think the last thing I want to talk about, then I got to hop off because I'm getting all sorts of phone calls and emails and such, is Brendan said, My next N8N is about uploading images WP because it's sort of complicated. My man, dude. If you guys aren't following Brendan already, you got to follow Brendan. Dude's an automation whiz kid. I'm looking forward to that one. Good sir. Last thing I want to talk about here is something that I need to deal with, but I haven't dealt with it. I was talking to Hans from Termageddon yesterday, and there's an interesting thing that like keeps happening in WordPress. Well, not WordPress land, but like website land. I'll give you guys this link. If you go, this is a shameless plug, just because I love Hans and the team over there. And also, if you go to that link right there and you sign up for Termageddon, you get two free licenses instead of one. But I was talking to them. If you guys aren't familiar with Termageddon, it's like auto updating policies, and like they have like all sorts of stuff going on with like, you guys probably know what it is, but like it's your privacy policy, your terms of use, your disclaimers, all that sort of stuff. But they like go crazy with the laws. Like they like track this shit heavily. Hans's co-founder and wife Donata's an attorney, so she knows all this shit that I don't know. So my point is, the reason I'm bringing this up is that we were having a conversation yesterday, and he was telling me that these people in California, like there's attorneys that are going out and like purposely trying to sue. That's a little loose, that term, but purposely. But I mean, they're targeting companies, websites that don't have these policies on them. Not just the policies, but also the consent side of things. Like we like this little cookie. Everybody loves cookies, cookie notices. So yeah, my long story short is that I need to make sure that we're up on the up and up with all this sort of stuff for, I don't know, my clients, myself, and everything like that, because I don't want to get like sued in the state of fucking California because, I don't know, I have like a Facebook pixel on my shit. So I would highly recommend that you guys go look into this, because I don't want to see anybody get dragged into stupid shit that they don't have to deal with. And I guess it's as simple as just, telling people that they have to, consent into, whatever you're using, anything that like tracks data, which again, I feel like the big ones are live chats, and Facebook pixels right now. There's obviously like Google Analytics and things like that, but I feel like the ones that are being cited are those ones. Obviously, this is a whole GDPR thing, right? But that's GDPR. That's over there. That's whatever. The big thing, the big one on their radar, Termageddon's radar right now, is this California SIPA thing. I don't know exactly what it's called, or the situation going on there, but yeah, I would maybe it's in their. I'm sure it's in their blog somewhere. But is it this one? Yeah. So this one right here, yeah. So hopefully this shit gets rectified, and we don't have to live in this type of world where people are like, obviously there's people doing probably bad shit, right, with the data, but not everyone, okay? Like not like random bakeries and shit. At the same time, obviously privacy is an important thing. I'm but I don't know. This is just kind of weird. So hopefully you guys are in this, at least at minimum, protecting yourself. If like your clients don't want it or whatever, Termageddon has a lot of good like waivers and stuff that you can give to your clients, so they don't get like dinged for this, or if they do get dinged, it's not your issue necessarily. But honestly, I would just put it on. I would just kind of bake it into your thing. Like this is kind of, something that I feel like if you want your clients to pay for it, I understand. Give them the waiver if they don't want to pay for it. But honestly, I just kind of feel like this should be right in the monthly care plan. It's kind of that important. So that's just my two thoughts on that. I just wanted to. That's literally that segment right there was literally mostly for me to remind myself to keep an eye on this shit and keep doing this, because there's a lot of other random stuff that we have to care about if we're, adminning websites. But I think I'm gonna end it here. Like I said, I got some calls and other stuff that I got to attend to here. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much for the engagement on this one. Look forward to WP Town Hall on Monday. Look forward to me and Jeffrey tonight at 8 p.m. Super excited about that one. And anything else? I mean, a lot of other things, but yeah, let me know. Let me know if you guys want to see anything specific. Again, always in the comments and everything like that. And a lot more good content coming now that my face is moderately healed. So Appreciate all you guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. Every Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern, right here, even if I'm a couple minutes late, or if you don't see an email, I'll still be here. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you guys